Today is August 5th, August 5th, 2010. We're here today with Marge Pence, who is going to tell us about the Parliamentary Law and Literary Club. I'm Deb Lawrence, and we're at the Peabody Public Library for the Whitley County Oral History Project. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On a Monday evening, March 8th, 1897, 8 ladies met at the home of Mrs. Edith Roosh for the purpose of organizing a parliamentary law class. The 8 ladies were Margaret Adair, Anna Clugston, Elizabeth Hollis, Adelia Hunter, Edith Ruth, Jessie Adair Strong, Allie Bell Tuttle. At this time, Westward School was 28 years old. The local bank was 30 years old and solid as a rock. The beautiful courthouse, the third one, had been finished 7 years ago, costing $165,000. This was 1897. President McKinley was in office. The first American comic strip, Katzenjammer Kids, was created. Columbia City was home to the Harper Buggy Company, John Rhodes Store, Harrison Bookstore, Perfection Flour Mill, and a weekly newspaper, The Mill. Author Lloyd C. Douglas was a 19-year-old lad living at home. And yes, the town had had a phone service for 17 years, the cranker-up Central type. Thomas R. Marshall, who became vice president under Woodrow Wilson's presidency, was living in town. These 8 women were challenging themselves to study parliamentary law. They met every week at the home of members, and business was not to exceed 1 hour. Membership was limited to 17, which in 2 years was increased to 20. Membership fee was 25 cents. They were fined 5 cents for tardiness of more than 15 minutes. Anna Clugston was tardy once, and being caused upon for cause, confessed she got lost. The president excused her, for she'd had a similar experience herself. They bought a secretary's book for 25 cents, assigned parliamentary lessons, and executed drills. Papers were written on assigned historical topics, their reference book being the Barnes U.S. History Book. They worked hard at keeping current on things that were going on in the world, and this is what was composed of for one program. How to Be Happy by Laura Tuttle House. Spain's Red Book, Maria Grusbeck. An extract from a Jewish lecture by Madeleine Hoffman. Work of General Wood in Santiago by Elizabeth Mealy. A poem, Red, White, and Blue by Mrs. Miller, and The Old Schoolmaster by Luella Click. Then they had a parliamentary drill. Class was adjourned and they had a treat of maple taffy. In April 1899, the club officially became Parliamentary Law and Literary Club. Then they chose pink, 2 shades, as the club color and the carnation as the flower. In 1905, the club became federated, but in a few years they became disassociated with the federated clubs. In 1917, S.J. Peabody bought the site of our former library and donated $25,000 for the building. At this building, many club meetings were held, and members researched for many topics for our club programs. Former members of Parliamentary, Myrtle List and Phyllis Monago, were head librarians, and another member, Laverne Geiger, worked at the library for many years. In 1925, we had the Woolsey exhibit here in Columbia City, which was a collection of 29 pictures of the Southwest, painted by an Indianapolis artist. We purchased one of the paintings for the library, and can you believe it took a committee to decide where to hang the picture? In 1931, Mary Raber was president, and years later, one of our elementary schools was named after her, and it is still in use. About that time, which was the Depression years, they reduced the dues from $3 to $1. In 1939, we sponsored the artist Floyd Hopper of Indianapolis in a one-man show at the library. He was married to Hazel Whiteleather, a member of the club, and we reimbursed him for his expenses, which amounted to $10. We also sponsored Jeannie Weddy, a monodramatist from Lima, Ohio, who wrote, produced, and presented a program on Catherine the Magnificent Medici. Our profit was 50 cents, but we have brought culture to our city. Another time we had the author and lecturer, Mrs. Bertita Harding, review her book, Phantom Crown. Now this time we made a profit, $24.05. In 1933, one of the club members, Margaret Coyle Aker, passed away. She'd been a very active member, and the club's memorial to her was establishing a memorial bookshelf at the library. We have also purchased artwork from local people for the library, from Dean Weilacher, whose mother Grace was a member, and art from Lynn Fessler. During World War II, we gave money to the Red Cross for kits, and we bought a bond. We continued selling articles made by the blind. To boost our morale, we changed the price of our Christmas gift exchange from 25 cents to 50 cents. In 1945, Columbia City's Ralph Gates took office as governor of Indiana. His wife, Mrs. Helene Gates, entertained her fellow club members at a luncheon at the governor's mansion in Indianapolis. And it was quite a wonderful experience. Can't you just hear those ladies saying to one another, "What are you going to wear?" Demaris Grant was president at that time and is our oldest living associate member. Julius Snodgrass is another living member who attended the big affair. The menu for the luncheon consisted of melon balls, creamed chicken in pastry shells, scalloped corn, candied sweet potatoes, tossed salad, lemon jello mold, relish dish, ice cream, cake, candies, nuts, and coffee, and then punch later in the afternoon. Patricia Gates McNagny was a college student at IU at that time, but came home to help her mother entertain our club, and also a club from South Whitley that Mrs. Gates belonged to. It was a wonderful day for our ladies. While charity is not a goal, we have, through the years, made gifts to various organizations, such as a cart we had made in the shape of a circus wagon to hold children's books, which we presented to our local hospital. We purchased a signed P. Buckley Moss print, which went to the New Indian Springs Middle School. We bought a rocking chair for the children's department of our present library when newly built. It even had to be replaced, so it must have been used. We still present the library a book in memory of a deceased member. In May 1997, we celebrated our 100th anniversary with a luncheon at the Eagle's Nest, and I happened to be fortunate enough to be asked to write the history of our club for the program. Jan Hammer and Jan Morshes, dressed in period clothing, assisted. They wore beautiful hats designed for the various years, loaned to us by member Ruthie Bennett, who had an extensive hat collection. Somewhere along the 113 years of existence, we changed from studying parliamentary procedure to interesting programs given by our members. We have covered a multitude of subjects. For the past few years, we have had very interesting programs about outstanding women from past and present years, and we still meet in our homes. In 2009, we ended the year by having ladies who have been members for 50 years or more present the program at our annual May luncheon. Each told of a program they'd given and a special event they liked. The ladies were Betsy Gates, Barbara Kessy, Patricia McNagny, Margie Moore, Marge Pence, and Mary Trier. At the present time, August 2010, we have 20 members and 15 associate members. I'd like to introduce you to our group of active members. They are Carol Ball, Marianne Fitzpatrick, Judy Gates, Sally Grissom, Pat Groves, Jan Hammer, Carolyn Hughes, Ray McKay, Susan McClish, Marianne McCluskey, Aileen Meyer, Jan Marshes, Carol Nolan, Jane Oliver, Diane Rainier, Nancy Reeve, Lori Stile, Rosemary Steiner, Lynn Walker, and Judy Whiteleather. A few active associates not already mentioned are Julia Berry, Joanne Brennan, Miriam Kopp, and Joe Kreider. I know I speak for all members when I say it's been an honor and a pleasure to belong to Parliamentary Law and Literary Club. Our thanks go to those first 8 ladies who had the desire and the determination to form a club to study parliamentary procedure, good literature, and fine arts. And I want to thank Deb Lawrence, Assistant Reference Librarian, and the library for allowing me to present my club to the citizens and friends of Columbia City.
Thank you, Marge. Just a couple questions. What's the
Okay.
difference between an active member and an associate member?
When you want to become an associate member, you do not have to have them in your home, or you do not have to give a program, although we do, but you are not bound to do that.
So when you get a little bit older, and
you'll get a little older and want to take life a little easier.
you can just come and have fun.
Yes.
Well,
but we do give programs. Even associates, and we entertain them in our home.
We've had ladies come in and say, "Oh, help me find something because I
Yes.
have to give them
Yes.
a program for class."
But you're not down on the book. You don't have to do it. So if you want to take off, you can. And lots of times,
because I know Mrs. Brennan goes to Texas.
Yes. And when my husband retired, he'd been so confined to things, during the day and in the evenings, going to everything, that when he wanted to go somewhere, I wanted to go with him.
Well,
so that's when I became associate. But I attend
every
meeting anyway.
So what kind of topics? I know you said some of the topics for the first few. What kind of topics? Do you just pick your own topic?
Each year we'll have a theme.
Mm-hmm.
And like one year it was Indiana history, or we might have politicians. And then lately it has been on women, famous women.
Oh,
we've had presidents' wives and artists and different people that have had, special careers.
So then do you just have like one program per meeting, or
Yes, just one per meeting.
so it kind of rotates?
Yes.
Neat.
Yes.
Very neat. So while I've got you here, what kind of things have changed in Columbia City that would make you change the club a little bit?
Well, one thing would be the dress. I guess when they first met, it was a very formal occasion for them. And they wore hats and they wore gloves. And I can remember when I joined in about 1955, 56, the ladies wore gloves and hats. It was a very formal occasion.
Very proper.
And for refreshments, they passed a plate of candy. And now we have, it depends on the hostess. We just, as long as we have something to drink, like they'll have coffee or punch or something. But some of them really, they have the table that is just beautiful with 3 and 4 kinds of dessert and things like that.
Wow.
And I think it's more relaxed. Programs are very much more relaxed.
So does this spark discussion after
Yes.
your program?
For our roll call, we will have something pertaining to the program. You will like we had Laura Bush, and then you would give your opinion of what you gained from maybe the program that you didn't already know about her, or something that you wanted to say about her, you wanted to describe her. And so that would be our roll call. Then each member gets to participate a little in the day's program that way.
Very good. Yeah, I bet. No fist fights or
No,
hair
no.
pulling or
Sometimes
nothing.
they're very careful on things we do. If we have had some presidents' wives that have been a little controversial, and they're very careful when they give their program, always being very kind, and maybe mention a few little humorous things,
Sure.
but try to please everybody.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming. Anything else you can think of that you'd like to
No,
add?
it's my pleasure. I it's something that I just never want to miss.
It
And
sounds
one thing
very,
is,
very
you get
interesting.
to know the people of Columbia City. I should say this too, that it is a very diversified group. Like you go to church or you belong to this something, and you see these same ladies over and over, and they're all maybe like things that you do pertain. And this is very diversified. These people come from different walks of life, and it's very nice to entertain them and to know more things about them. You learn different vocations and different things and you get to know them and feel like one of the family.
That's great.
Otherwise, you would never have come in contact with these
Right,
people.
sure.
Just not the same group of
Yeah,
friends.
some of the ladies come into the library that the names that you read off for the current members, and it is a very diverse group. That's very cool.
It really is.
Very
Yes,
cool.
yes.
Well, thank you for being here. We
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.